everyone, welcome back for another adventure. Yesterday I threw up a poll on my community page asking you all what you would be interested in regarding today's video. The choices I provided included a reaction to a channel called Girl Defined, HRH Collection, or something else entirely. Girl Defined won the majority, so I guess we're breaking out our dictionaries, y'all. Okay, so the way I recently heard about Girl Defined is through a popular drag queen I followed named Trixie Mattel. If you don't follow drag or RuPaul's Drag Race, the RuPaul girls, all that, you still may have even heard of Trixie Mattel. She's pretty iconic, a very successful business person. She recently had a show called Trixie Motel. I know, pretty funny. Oh, and if you all are interested, Trixie did or still does a weekly podcast called Bald and the Beautiful with her friend Katya. So funny. So entertaining, too. I used to go to a local lake and walk laps around it with all the suburban families. Literally me smiling and waving at parents with their children and their golden retrievers while listening to two drag queens talk about prolapse body parts and doing coke off of each other's. Anyway, this is where I heard about Girl Defined recently. Trixie recently uploaded this video titled Drag Queens Are a Mockery. Trixie Mattel reacts to Girl Defined. So when I saw this thumbnail, I immediately squinted my eyes and scratched my head thinking, where do I know them from? I look at a similar video and see a second title just below it. And it says, Trixie learns how to wear makeup in a God-honoring way. And then I was like, oh, that's where I know them from. My friend Michael makes this joke all the time. He will literally say anything and then tag in a God-honoring way on the end of it. For the longest time, I didn't know what he meant by that, but this is what it's from. For example, how to get your fourth plate at the buffet in a God-honoring way. How to quiet quit at work in a God-honoring way. Just silly stuff like that. So before I begin my reaction, which by the way, I'm gonna do the same video Trixie did, the one about drag queens. I have a pretty good knowledge base on the art of drag. I know all the Rue girls, Lady Bunny, Lady Chablis, Divine, Rosie O'Donnell. I've been around the block once or twice, but anyway, before I begin, I just wanted to share a little background information on Girl Defined with y'all so we can all start out with a little bit of a foundation. You know, I don't know that much about these girls, to be quite honest with you. I know that they're two blonde women that talk about Christianity. That's literally it. So this is Girl Defined's website, quite literally girldefined.com. We're greeted with two not at all terrifying smiles staring directly into our souls. Love it. We are nearing Halloween after all. So scrolling down a little bit, it looks like the two have provided a little introduction for us, detailing out who they are and what they're here to accomplish on the World Wide Web. I'll skim through and paraphrase this thing for you all. So they start off by telling you that they're sisters from Southern Texas who are here to spread the truth. Kristen and Bethany value sports, family, and the great outdoors. Okay, I just want to say this now before I continue. So this video is going to inevitably include the topic of religion, namely Christianity. Before I go any further, I want to provide a disclaimer to all that it is not my intention to in any way disrespect or bash these girls' religious views or anything of the sort. What I do plan to accomplish in this video, however, is to respond and comment on Kristen and Bethany's interpretation of religion and how they utilize it to express and communicate their views on what they're deciding to talk about. For the upcoming video, that topic will be drag queens. They chose to talk about that. But anyway, this intro goes on to basically say the girls used to be in the modeling business, but they felt they had to leave the industry because it conflicted with their religious views. Instead of jawlines and two pieces, Kristen and Bethany broke out the turtlenecks and purity rings. Their mission statement here concludes by saying they don't have all the answers in life, but it is their hope the audience they reach will have their eyes open to God's incredible design for womanhood. So that all seemed pretty innocuous on the surface level. I think a majority of people would agree that they don't mind the faith of other people, so as long as they're not using it to coerce, intimidate, or affect others. I want to hop into the reaction video now. Let's see if all of that reigns true and what they're about to share with us.
We are not going to give into the delusion. This is not going to help all of the major mental breakdowns that are going on in our world and suicide. Like, this is not helping it by affirming that, one, men can be women, or two, men should dress up like women and put on fake breasts that are way oversized, massive rears.
Okay, this is a lot of energy to start a video with. So she started off, I just want to catch that for all of you. So she starts off this video by saying that I guess drag is what she was referring to. Drag is not going to help mental disorders, is not going to help the suicide rates. Okay, all right. Interesting way to start a video.
You know, like, wear very skimpy clothing and dance around and twerk and do all this stuff. Like, this is insane. No wonder we have problems. What's up, everybody? It is Kristen and Bethany here, sisters, and we're so glad you're joining us for this conversation because we need to talk about this. This is something we've been wanting to talk about for a while, drag queens. And the fact that it has become so mainstream, it is so popular. It is something that we're told children should be exposed to. It will give them sexual...
Okay. Who is we, first of all? We, like, what demographic are you referring to? We should be exposing our children to drag. I actually follow a lot of LGBT culture, drag culture, things like that. As far as involving kids in drag, that is not a widely expressed thing. From what I have seen, I mean, I've been following drag maybe, like, I don't know, since I was like 20. I'm 26 now. So I'm not really exactly sure. I wish she could be a little bit more descriptive what she means by that. We are being told that drag needs to be expressed to kids. Who's saying that? Who specifically is saying that? And who are they saying that to? Are they saying it to you? Kristen or Bethany? Are they saying that to you?
Well, diversity, opportunity, you know, their young minds are so moldable and we want to shape them in the right way. In fact, something happened recently in our own backyard, not literally, but in Texas. I whacked myself in the face. Okay. We're from San Antonio, so not too far away, Dallas, Texas. This was in the news a lot, so you probably heard about it, but there was a big drag show and it was literally titled Drag the Kids to Pride, a family-friendly drag show. That's how it was advertised. And basically they were saying this is the ultimate family-friendly drag show. Come, bring your family, bring your little kids. We're going to have drag performers in a nightclub, by the way. You know, there's going to be dancing. And they even said, in fact, we're going to have 5 spots open for kids to join the stage to dance with the drag performers. And it's going to be this wonderful family-friendly night. You know, let's go. And
I don't feel that I can continue this reaction video without looking into that event that they're about to discuss. Okay, so this is what I was able to find. This was the original event. Drag the Kids to Pride by Nicole O'Hara Munro and DJ Charlie Fresh. So this happened back in early June. Okay, this was in Dallas, Texas. It was from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So in the afternoon. Okay. About this event. Mr. Mister's Drag the Kids to Pride show provides an ultimate family-friendly Pride experience. This signature event is a family-friendly spin-off of our famed Champagne Drag Brunch with our resident DJ Charlie Fresh playing some of your favorite hits, yada, yada, yada. Okay, Our under 21 guests can enjoy a special Mr. Mimosa mocktail, while moms and dads can sip on one of our classic mimosas. Okay. Would you like to hit the stage with the queens? We have 5 limited spots for young queen performers to take the stage solo or with a queen of their choosing. Come hang out with queens and enjoy this unique Pride experience fit for guests of all ages. So there is nothing in this paragraph or in these tags that suggests anything provocative, anything mature, anything that is inappropriate for anyone under the age of 18. So this is all I have to go off of. Now, I found some footage on YouTube of the event, and it was of a news article thing. So let's take a look at that now. Okay. Some dancing. Okay, so like, some dancing. Again, this performer right here seems to be dressed appropriately enough to be around kids. She's showing a little bit of leg, but in my opinion, in American culture, what is on TV and what is in movies and what is typically expressed to people of this age group from what I experience, I think that this performer is dressed in an okay enough way to be around kids. It looks like we now have some protesters outside. This woman's sign says, "Stop grooming the kids." Okay. So I do not know the ins and outs of this event. I don't know everything that went on. I'm just going off of what the event said on their listing and what is in this video. So based on what has gone on, this woman in this hat right here, she says, "Stop grooming kids." All right. So let's see a little bit more footage from the actual event itself. Okay, someone brought a baby. There is, here, let me move my head, my big head. Another performer, again, dressed appropriately enough to be around kids, in my opinion. She's wearing a dress, her arms are showing, but it's not like she's wearing a two-piece. It's not like she's, you know, that provocative, in my opinion. So she's walking around. It looks like she has some cash in her hand. I will say, though, that is the only thing so far in this video that I've seen that is a little bit strange. I don't know how I feel about the concept of children tipping performers. I don't know. That's a little bit on the edge for me. Personally, on the edge for me. I don't really like the idea of, I mean, if it's I could be getting this wrong. If it's the adults tipping the performers, that's one thing. I'm not sure how I feel if I were to have my child give a performer money. Okay, so moving on a little bit more into the video, it looks like this performer is going around collecting tips. I can't tell, is that a child holding out the money? I believe it is. Okay. That's the only thing that's a little bit strange to me. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about children tipping. But again, what I'm critiquing here, that really doesn't have anything to do with the concept of drag or what that woman out front was accusing them of. This is just like a weird thing to me. It's just like, I don't know, it's like on the lines of like gambling in a way, like not really, but kind of. But really what I'm critiquing here doesn't have anything to do with drag. It's just the concept of children tipping. That's a little bit strange to me. But anyway, okay. She's collecting tips. She's in a leotard. She's in a bodysuit, and this was labeled as a family-friendly event. It's for kids. She looks like she has fishnets on. So I think this is up to a parent's interpretation, whether or not you find this appropriate for your kids. Do you find someone wearing fishnet leggings inappropriate? That's up to a personal preference. Do you think that's appropriate for your child to see someone wearing fishnet leggings like this? Okay, looks like we have a little bit of an interview. The performer's walking around, doing a little dance, just kind of, okay. So, before I continue again, to me, from what I was able to find on the internet, that event did not seem overly provocative, overly sexualized, overly obnoxious in a sense. But the way that Kristen and Bethany here just communicated it to me seemed like it was, or like that's how it went down. So I'm guessing that these two didn't go to this event. They didn't see it with their own eyes. So I think that they were more so enraged about the idea of children being around someone that is cross-dressing, one gender wearing the other gender's clothes. I think that that is really the heart of the issue here, and that's what really bothers them. And they don't like that concept in general, and they don't like that their kids are being exposed to it. So it's kind of the same thing. They don't like it. They don't want their kids around it.
And in fact, when I saw some articles and some videos about this event, there was a huge neon sign in the background that literally said, "It's not gonna lick itself." We don't need to give you any more, information about that.
Okay, well, that would not, I don't, again, like, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that was actually there. I didn't see that in the video, but that I guess would be, no, that would not be okay for kids. That, if you're advertising a family-friendly event, it's okay for kids. You should not have a sign up that says that. I agree with them.
Details, you can probably guess what that means in a nightclub like this. And so here we have this event, and it's being applauded by so many in society, saying this is awesome. These pictures of these kids, tipping these dancers, who, by the way, are drag queens. So men dressed as very provocative, very, very sexually explicit women.
Now, I did not get that from the footage that we just watched. Very sexualized women. I didn't get that. It seems to me that she has more of an issue with the fact that it is a man dressing up as a woman. I think that she wants very badly to say that she doesn't like it. She doesn't like drag. She doesn't like the fact that a man is wearing women's clothes, but she instead is trying to take a different way and trying to improve her argument a little bit and say that they are being over-sexualized and we can't expose that to our children. Which most people would agree with. I would agree with. But is that what went on? Is that what went on? Or is that what you want to go on so that you can... Is that what you would have wanted to go on so that you can improve your argument? There's a difference.
In their costumes, in their lingerie-like costumes, dancing before children.
Lingerie-like costumes. Now again, the only thing that I saw that was seemingly lingerie-ish were the fishnet leggings, but open to interpretation for a parent. I don't know. If you're a parent, what would you think? Regardless of gender, do you think that a cisgender female, a drag performer female, in fishnet leggings, is that inappropriate? If it was a assigned at birth female in fishnet leggings, would you consider that inappropriate? Or is this because it's a guy wearing them?
And children are tipping them. Like, it's so perverted. It's so disgusting. It's so shocking that parents...
Okay. Now, I did find the tipping thing a little bit peculiar. I did.
Would think this is a healthy, mentally, healthy thing to bring their kids to. And so we just want to talk about it because truly, as we look at God's design for the man and the woman, drag queens and the celebration of this sort of entertainment is such a mockery on God's design for womanhood.
Oh yeah, and to say like, oh, but we need to be supporting this. Like, no, we are not going to give into the delusion. This is not going to help all of the major mental breakdowns that are going on in our world and suicide.
Okay. Oh, wow. She threw that out there again, the S word. She did this once already. Okay, we're now 2 minutes, 30 seconds into the video. She is saying that drag is not going to help the mental health crisis that is taking place, and it's not going to help suicide rates. So she has now done this twice now. I believe that she is doing this because everyone agrees that mental health is important. Everyone agrees that recently there have been a lot of events in the world that have been very controversial, and it has been spotlighted in media of how important mental health plays in the stability of our species. So this woman is highlighting that for us, okay? Everyone agrees mental health is important. It's very important. Now, what she's trying to do by pointing that out to us is she's trying to make us agree with her, and then she's trying to bridge her argument a little bit into us and saying, well, this isn't going to help that. And you agreed with me already. You agreed that mental health was important and that suicide rates are alarming right now. So you agreed with me on that. So here, let me just throw this in here and then you can continue to agree with me. That's what she's doing.
Like, this is not helping it by affirming that, oh yes, one, men can be women, or two, men should dress up like women and, put on fake breasts that are way oversized, massive rears, like we're very...
I didn't see any oversized breasts. I mean, I know what she's referring to. There are some performers. Oh my God, look at the girl on the right's face, by the way. There are some performers that wear oversized breasts, but I didn't see that in there. I did not see that in what the performers were doing there. As far as the large rear goes, I didn't really see that either, but there was nothing egregious that stuck out to me in the size of someone's rear end in that footage we watched.
Skimpy clothing and dance around and twerk and do all this stuff. Like, this is insane. No wonder we have problems. But...
Oh. Did you see what she just did? No wonder we have problems. So, you all agreed that mental health is a very important topic. But then, look at this issue. Look at this small, isolated issue that I'm bringing you today. This is causing it. And you agree that it's important, so this equals bad. That's what she did there.
Here at Girl Defined, we are striving to, share a biblical worldview, get back to God's design, because he is a good creator. And one of the ways we do that is over on Patreon. So we have an incredible community. Thank you to all of you who...
The business pitch. I love it. I love it. I love the one on the left, how she has bridged her argument so far, the details that she has decided to include, and now at the 3-minute, 8-second mark, she is telling us about how we can give her more money. Okay.
Who are patrons, supporters who support our videos with $1 or $2 or $3 per video per month. And it's just a simple way that you can say, yes, I like what you're doing at Girl Defined. I want to be a part of this community, and I'm just going to show my support in a simple way. And so our way of saying thank you is by giving you free resources like 5 strategies to find freedom from sexual sin. This one you can actually get completely for free. girldefined.com/freedom. Other guides that we offer: battling sexual temptation, 50 questions to deepen your friendships, 5 strategies for thriving as a single girl, a Christian girl's breakup survival guide. The list goes on.
There's so many, it's hard to hold them all.
I know. These aren't even all of them. So when you sign up, patreon.com/girldefined, you get access not only to the private community and the amazing sisterhood and their private Q&As, things like that. You get access to all of these free guides from the past.
Yeah.
And
So they teased us a little bit. The first 3 minutes of this, it was all drag queens are bad, men dressing up as women, bad. And now they're throwing in the little business pitch. So I'd imagine that this will end soon. They wanted to add this in here. Not too far in the video. I mean, most people don't watch the full YouTube video. So they wanted to throw this in here at a very opportune point. They wanted to tease us a little bit, give us a little bit of an appetizer. And then now we're watching the commercial. And then we're going to go back to regularly scheduled programming in here in just a moment.
any ones that come out while you are a patron. So it's like the best deal ever.
Yeah. So someone said, following up on that drag event that happened in Dallas, Texas, someone literally said, because of course there was pushback, thankfully,
Okay. Oh, that's a very reasonable source. In court, in a court of law, in anything in life, I always believe what I hear. I was told yesterday that, I speak to very impressionable people. I still can't get over that. But anyway, so someone said, who said it? Where did they get their information from? Where are you reading this on? Are you reading it on Twitter? Are you reading it on a random website? Someone said. Now, that to me is not a very good foundation for a claim that you're about to make and a point that you're about to argue to people.
Hallelujah. There are still people out there who are pushing back and saying, I don't think this is healthy for kids. I don't think this is a really good family event. Maybe try the zoo. Maybe try...
Okay, so that's insulting. Someone said that I don't think that this is a good family event. Okay. That's an opinion. Great. You're all... Oh my God, look, please. This keeps happening, but look at the girl on the left right now. That's great. Someone had an opinion. Some people would agree with your opinion. Other people would tell you what to do with that opinion. So someone said, and then, okay.
Museum, like, And so someone came out and said, anyone who thinks drag isn't for children is wrong. Drag is expression, and children are such judgment-free beings that they don't really care what you're wearing, just what you're performing. Oh, really? Yes, they are in many ways judgment-free beings. It's because they don't have judgment. They're children. Like in so many ways, their mind is being formed. Their worldview is being formed. What they think about sexuality, what they think about everything is being formed. It's like Play-Doh, like soft Play-Doh being molded and formed. And that is the job of parents to help guide and strengthen and grow their.
Yes and no. Yes and no to an extent. Children are impressionable. Teenagers are impressionable. But there were a lot of things that were pushed onto me growing up that I completely abandoned, that are no longer values in my life, that are things that morals and principles and ideology, things like that, very, very in culture growing up and everything. And when I grew up, like the early 2000s, a lot more of a focus on this rhetoric that these two are talking about right now. Not so much more like that now today in 2022. It's crazy just how in 2 decades things have changed so drastically, but they have. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is kids are exposed to things all the time. Thousands of different concepts every day. That doesn't mean that everything that they read, everything that they see, everything that they hear, they're going to agree with it. They're not sponges. So their argument here is that if you bring a child to a drag show and they enjoy themselves, it's going to corrupt them.
Their children in a healthy way so they can grow up to be mentally stable adults. And you're taking young children so impressionable, they don't.
Okay. So they can grow up to be mentally stable adults. By not exposing them to drag, they will grow up to be mentally stable adults. So is that exclusive? So any child you raise, as long as they're not exposed to drag, they will grow up to be mentally stable, or they have a greater likelihood of being mentally stable. That's this woman's argument right now. Okay. So, and also in saying that, she is saying that anyone that partakes in drag or enjoys drag, they're mentally unstable.
You don't really have a grasp on what's happening in the world, and you're exposing them to such sexually explicit perversion. Like, how is that going to help them in the long run? So I think it is a form of.
Again, the sexually explicit perversion that she just said. Other than the fishnet tights in that video, I did not see that. I saw dresses. I saw them covered up for the most part. I did not see twerking. I did not see bra and panty. I did not see what these two are saying that went on with this event or events similar to this.
Child abuse. But that's just
100%.
one facet of this. The other main facet is just the mainstreaming of drag and how there's, like, you were telling me about a show that's really popular for like teens
There's
and like
a new
young
show.
people.
I can't remember the name of it, but it's either come out or it's coming out. And it's basically they take a few young kids, drag, that are drag stars, and they get to basically perform. And it's a whole reality show about these kids. And so the normalization, not only of that, but you have like the library readings, drag queen story hour, and just this massive over-sexual.
So they're referring to, I think that what they're referring to is We're Here. We're Here is a TV show on HBO. It features 3 queens, Eureka, Shangela, and Bob the Drag Queen. Which, by the way, the Amber Lynn people, Bob the Drag Queen was the one that made the TikTok about Amber Lynn going black on black on black on black. So if you've ever seen that, that's who I'm referring to right now. So the 3 of them have this show called We're Here. We're Here is a TV show where the 3 of those drag queens go out to someone that wants to change their life, really wants to shake things up, wants to give themselves a new image, wants to regain confidence. If these 2 girls right here, or anyone that agrees with these 2 girls' ideology were to watch We're Here, they would. So the way that they're trying to paint the show is to say We're Here is influencing children to come out as drag queens. I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to say. There have been children featured on the show, and every episode that I've seen that features, it's not in any way sexually provocative at all. It's about confidence. It's about owning who you are. It's about overcoming fear. It has nothing to do with sexual perversion in the sense where children are involved. And for the most part, actually, that show is about adults. That show is about mostly adults. It's not about kids. But if she's talking about a different show, I mean, that would be really weird. But she just described the one that I'm talking about, so I think that's what she's referring to.
Sexualization of these adults, which is so creepy.
Which, by the way, we're over halfway done with this video, and all we've talked about is kids. It's like, is that this woman's only argument? The title of the video is "Drag Queens Are a Mockery of God's Design for Women." When are you going to talk about God's design? When are you going to talk about women? The only thing you've done so far is say how drag is influential on kids and how it's corrupting their minds. Is that what your whole video is about? Because the title says differently.
Creepy to me. Adult, typically men, already dressed up like women, now preying on these young children, you know?
Praying. Okay. That's a pretty nefarious thing to say. Men dressed up as women are preying on children. Okay, do you have any footage of that? Do you have any instances of that? I mean, that's happened, sure, but every scenario in any sort of way in the world has happened once or twice. There are bad people in the world. That has occurred. But to say that that is a widespread issue and it's to the point where drag is deserving of scorn, don't think so. Every drag performer I've met, every drag performer I have ever heard discuss the topic of kids and drag, they don't want it. They don't want to meet your kid in a wig. That was literally the words of a drag queen one time. I don't want to meet your kid in a wig. I keep the kids at home. I don't want it. I would say significantly, most. So what they're doing here is they're taking this very small group of people that try to include kids and drag and pride and things like that, and they're trying to blow it up into a widespread issue. They're trying to make a generalization. I cannot believe that she just said that drag queens prey on children. Like, oh my.
Literally, like, parents are just handing them over, and I don't even want to know, you know, like 15 years from now, 20 years from now, the stories that are going to come out. And I think there's going to be a massive change because right now, us as adults are the ones putting our children in this situation, putting them
They can't
in the
even
hands
consent, you know?
Yeah,
They're
like,
just told, this is good, this is healthy, go for it.
like this is
So now what they're basically saying is parents are coercing their children to involve themselves in drag. They are forcing them to attend these events. They are forcing them to be preyed on. They are without say in if they want to attend or not. This is a widespread issue of parents coercing their children to be involved in activities that will be detrimental to their development into a healthy, sane adult. That's their argument here. And their basis, their evidence, what they're going off of, just personal opinion. That's really all they're citing here. Just how they feel.
This is just the, you know, even taking young boys and dressing them up like over-sexualized women, you know, grown men and...
I also want to make a little comment. Notice how the one on the left keeps saying over-sexualized, sexually perverted. She's not explicitly, or maybe she has, but continuously, she isn't explicitly saying it's bad for a boy to dress up as a girl. Because I think that she knows she would lose that fight. She's saying it's bad for a boy to dress up as an over-sexualized, sexually perverted girl under the age of 18. That is the very weird, odd outlier argument she's trying to make here. but she's trying to, take this from light years away and put it into main focus and say, this is a problem, people. She is. There's so many generalizations in this. And the details that she's citing, the examples that she's citing, the opinions that she's basing it off of, it's all crap. Like, this is the worst argument I've ever heard. Like, these are two clowns.
And women who think that's like hot or whatever, that is just horrific to think that we are doing this to our children. And so it's so important to get back to the basic fact that we have a designer, we have a God who loves us, we have a God who cares about us, and he did not make a mistake when he chose to create the male and the female from the beginning of time. He was extremely intentional in creating man and woman and putting them within the context of marriage, putting sex and intimacy within the context of marriage, not for just general consumption, but as a beautiful celebration of that covenant and a beautiful, ultimately a reflection of God.
Oh, baby, you're mistaken. Sexual consumption is the oldest profession in the world.
And us to deeply know him in an intimate, close relationship. And so it's heartbreaking to think that we have strayed so far from God's design and we think, wow, well, true happiness is reject.
Who is we? Who is we? I don't identify with you. I don't want you involving me in your demographic. Who is we? We. Are you trying to make your audience a part of you? Who are you speaking to? Because she's done this once already.
Everything that our creator, our designer, whether we acknowledge him or not, has set forth, and we're going to bend all of these gender norms. We're going to completely reject male and female, and we're going to mash it up, mix it up, chop it up, literally inject it, and come up with whatever we want. And I just think it takes common sense to look at it and go, wow, this is a disaster. No wonder we are having so many mental problems. And
this woman wants to talk to me about common sense. Okay.
Like anxiety problems, like we are literally
God making, like you said, distinctions. He made a man, a male, and he made a female, a woman. And it's so clear that in society we're told, men can be women, women can be men, anyone can be anything, really. And it does get so confusing. It does get so complicated. And if your framework is that you have to look within and you have to find and discover who you are.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that it's confusing at all. I think that someone that identifies as non-binary, by the way, look at the girl on the right's face. Oh my God, I cannot believe I keep doing this. Someone that identifies as non-binary means that they don't agree with either gender. They don't feel that they fit in and that they would like to remain a gender without gender. Someone that would like to transition to the opposite sex, they are a transgender male. They are a transgender female. No, they weren't assigned that sex at birth, but they transitioned to it.
And now you have like 1,000 options for who you can be. That is so hard. That is so scary. And even if you think you find who you are, over time it could change.
1,000 options? This girl cannot be for real. They really are. They're taking such strange examples. I mean, yes, there are people out there who make decisions to identify in ways that are not very common, but that is not the norm. That is not this majority. She's acting as if that this is like something that is staring us in the face, and this is, your children are being confused. They have to pick from 1,000 different genders. Like, no, that's not going on. Where are you getting that from? Twitter?
1 year, 2 years, 5 years, it could be different. But when we look at God's word, it honestly erases the confusion. Like, there's so much confusion, there's so much dysfunction, and we look at God's word and we see the simplistic truth that in the beginning he created them male and female. He created them in his image. And so the fact that I'm born with the female body informs me of God's intention for me. It informs me of who I am. Psalm 139 talks about all of us when we're in the womb. The Bible says that God sees us. We're fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well because God was forming us, handcrafting us None of us are a mistake, but when we look at our physical bodies, it's not detached from our gender identity. Our physical body, our biology, it is a part of God's holistic plan for who we are. And I can look at my body and see, I'm a female, therefore God made me to be a woman. Therefore, I will look in his word to see, what does it mean to be a woman? How do I live out?
So what about people that are born intersex? What about intergender people? People that are born with both body parts? Because that does occur when people are conceived. What about them? Are they supposed to just pick the majority of what they see and say, oh, I guess I'm that?
As a woman, distinct from a man. And same if you're born a man. And so as we submit our lives to the authority of God's word, we recognize him as a good father. It clears up so much of the confusion and brings so much clarity. We discover who we are by knowing who he is. And the whole big push for drag queens to be mainstream, the confusion around sexual identity and all of that, it can feel so hard to push back or resist because we're told that we're hateful, we're told that we're bigoted, we're told we're transphobic, we're told all of these things if we don't jump.
What do you call yourselves? If you're not everything that you just said, what are you? That's a little lost on me. Do you support trans people then? If you're not transphobic, do you support them? Because if you're not, you know what my next argument's going to be.
Jump on board, but we have to be women who stand solid on the truth of God's word and say that is confusion, that is craziness, like that is truly just like the brokenness of our.
So in this little episode here, she has called drag performers or people that enjoy drag stupid, and she's called them mentally unstable and now crazy. Okay, and then she said, if you do this kind of stuff and you would agree with me, you might be scared because people are going to call you hateful. You just called a group of people stupid, mentally unstable, crazy. And then you say, well, we're not hateful. What are you talking about? Sweetheart, do you know the first thing about being a kind, loving person, an accepting person?
Our society being lived out, and we have to fight against that and say God has a much better plan with compassion, speaking truth in love, and say, let's look at God's word. He cares for you. He made you. He knew you when you were like a tiny little baby, and he has a good plan for your life. We actually unpack this in much greater detail on the Girl Defined show. So our podcast, we share a whole testimony of a man who was
We get into this way more. We're getting to the end of the video, so let's just make one more sales pitch. We do this weekly podcast that we'd now like to plug in here, which, by the way, we run commercials on. Not a big deal, though. We just make a little bit of side money. It's to support the business. What do you mean?
A drag queen. He shares his conversion to Christ and just the amazing transformation of God, changing him from the inside out. It's incredible. And along with a lot of other really practical, just talking points, how to talk.
I really didn't expect conversion therapy to be thrown into this here at the end. Praising conversion therapy. I'm pretty sure conversion therapy is outlawed or banned in the United States. There are probably some laws out there allowing some forms of it that wouldn't surprise me just based on, things. But really throwing in this little point here of conversion therapy here at the end. But then 2 minutes ago, she's saying, well, if you express these things, people might say you're transphobic. Are they wrong? Because do you see the contradiction here? Do you see how I'm bridging this argument, an actual argument? I'm not transphobic. Oh, it was so lovely. This person was able to convert.
Through this, how to think about this biblically. This is like a nutshell version. So we encourage you to head on over to the Girl Defined show after this. If you haven't already listened to it, listen to our most recent episode talking all about drag queens. But we just want to end by saying, look to God's word. He is our designer. He created male and female. He has a good plan for us. Let's stand firm. Let's not back down. Let's speak truth in love. There is free.
Let's speak love. Did you guys get that from this video? Did you get that this video was about love and acceptance and tolerance? She called drag performers, people that enjoy drag, everything of the sort. She called them stupid. They laughed. They laughed. They called them mentally unstable, crazy. But then ending this video, go about your day with love. Oh my.